Daf Yomi, Daf Yomi, Daf Yomi, Daf Yomi, nine 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 nine. Daf Mem Daled Amud Aleph Tractate Shevuot Shevuos Mem Daled Amud Aleph 44a, top of the page with the words My time at Eliezer. What is the reasoning of Rabbi Eliezer, who holds that although the collateral was lost, the debtor is still liable to pay? Rather, is it not a case where the collateral was not worth the amount of money that he lent him? And accordingly, they disagree with regard to the ruling of Shmuel. Rabbi Akiva holds, in accordance with the opinion of Shmuel, that if the collateral is lost, the entire debt is cancelled. And Rabbi Eliezer disagrees with this opinion. La bidila shave kuli alma let lehu Shmuel v'hacham b'shavet b'deshav shir zuze uvid Rabbi Yitzchak kamiflegi. Rabbi Yitzchak minayin balchoiv shekoin imashkoin shenema ulecha tihiyeh tzedakah. The Gemara rejects this suggestion. No, in a case where the collateral was not worth the value of the loan, everyone is of the opinion that the ruling is not in accordance with the opinion of Shmuel. But here, the dispute is with regard to a case where the collateral was worth the amount of money that he lent him, and they disagree with regard to the opinion of Rabbi Yitzchak. As Rabbi Yitzchak says, from where is it derived that a creditor acquires collateral given to him and is considered its owner as long as the item is in his possession, as it is stated with regard to a creditor who returns the collateral to the debtor for his personal use, and it shall be a righteousness for you. Deuteronomy 24:13. Im ena koine mashkon tzedakah minayin lo mikal bal choiv shekoine mashkon. Rabbi Yitzchak infers, if the creditor does not acquire the collateral, then from where is his righteousness? If the collateral is not his, the creditor would not be giving up anything of his own. From here, it is derived that a creditor acquires the collateral. Rabbi Eliezer disagrees with this opinion, maintaining that the creditor has the halachic status of an unpaid bailee with respect to the collateral, so that he is exempt from paying restitution if it is stolen or lost. He can therefore collect the entire debt from the debtor. Rabbi Akiva agrees with the opinion of Rabbi Yitzchak and holds that since the creditor acquires the collateral, he bears financial responsibility to pay its value in the event of its loss. Therefore, he must deduct the value of the collateral when collecting payment of the debt. Lema de Rabbi Yitzchak Tanai Batiz Bira Eimor Dom Rabbi Yitzchak Sheve Mishkeno Shelo B'Shat Aleva Mishkeno B'Shat Aleva Mi Amal. The Gemara asks, if so, shall we say that the opinion of Rabbi Yitzchak is the subject of a dispute between Tanaim? The Gemara answers, and how can you understand that? Say that Rabbi Yitzchak says that a creditor acquires the collateral in a case where he took the collateral from him, not at the time of the loan, but afterward, in order to induce him to return the loan, as described in the context of the aforementioned verse. But in a case where the creditor took the collateral from him at the time of the loan, does Rabbi Yitzchak say that he has acquired it? Ela mishkeno shelo b'shat halvato kol yom lo pligi de'idu de Rabbi Yitzchak Yehoshua mishkano b'shat halvato kishomer aveda kamiflagi diitvar shomer aveda rabba amar kishomer chinam but Rav Yosef amar kishomer sachar dami. Rather, in a case where he took the collateral from him, not at the time of the loan, everyone agrees that the opinion of Rabbi Yitzchak is accepted. And here, the dispute between Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Akiva is with regard to a case where he took the collateral from him at the time of the loan. And they disagree with regard to the halachic status of one who is safeguarding a lost item that he found but has not yet returned. As it was stated with regard to one who is safeguarding a lost item, Rabbah says that his halachic status is like that of an unpaid bailee who is exempt from paying restitution in the event that the item is lost or stolen. Rav Yosef Amal. Now we turn to 44b, Mem Dalet Mem Beis, top of the page, towards Rav Yosef. Rav Yosef Amar Kishomer Sachar Nami. Rav Yosef says that it is like that of a paid bailee, as while performing the mitzvah of taking care of a lost item, he is exempt from performing other mitzvot that involve the outlay of money, and the money that he saves is tantamount to payment received. Similarly, since safeguarding collateral is part of the mitzvah to lend money to the needy, one who does so is exempt during that time from performing other mitzvot that involve the outlay of money. Therefore, Rabbi Eliezer's ruling that even if the collateral is lost, the creditor collects the entire debt is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbah, and Rabbi Akiva's ruling that the creditor loses the value of the collateral is in accordance with the opinion of Rav Yosef. Lema de Rav Yosef Senai La Bishomer Aveda de Kure Alma Itlehu de Rav Yosef Yehacha b'mal v'tzarich lemashkon kamiflagi. Mar savar mitzvah ka'avid, umar savar la mitzvah ka'avid. The Gemara asks, if so, shall we say that the opinion of Rav Yosef is the subject of a dispute between Tanaim? The Gemara rejects this suggestion. No. With regard to one who is safeguarding a lost item, everyone accepts the opinion of Rav Yosef. And here, they disagree with regard to a case where the creditor needs the collateral and uses it with the permission of the debtor, deducting a usage fee from the debt. One sage, Rabbi Akiva, holds that he is still performing a mitzvah by safeguarding it and is therefore exempt from performing other mitzvot during that time. Consequently, he has the status of a paid bailee. And one sage, Rabbi Eliezer, holds that since he derives benefit from the collateral, he is safeguarding it for his own benefit and is not performing a mitzvah. Therefore, he has the status of an unpaid bailee. Lena ketanai hamal v'schadeiron ala mashkon ונכנס השמיטה אף על פי שאינו שווה אל הפלג, אינו משמט דברי רבן שמעון בן גמליאל. רבי יהודה הנשיא אומר, אם היה משכנו כנגד חובו, אינו משמט ואם לאו משמט. The Gemara resumes discussion of Shmuel's statement that if the creditor loses the collateral, the debt is cancelled. Let us say that Shmuel's ruling is the subject of a dispute between Tanaim, as it is stated in a Braita with regard to the halacha that the sabbatical year does not abrogate debts for which collateral is taken. If one lends money to another on the basis of collateral and the sabbatical year commences, then even if the collateral is worth only half the value of the loan, the sabbatical year does not abrogate the debt. This is the statement of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel. Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi says that if the value of the collateral is commensurate with his debt, the sabbatical year does not abrogate the debt, but if it was not commensurate with the debt, the sabbatical year abrogates the debt. Mai enu meshamet dika amar tanakama ile mekenegdo miklad Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi savar kenegdo nami meshamet era amai tafis mashkon. The Gemara asks, what is the meaning of the statement, the sabbatical year does not abrogate the debt, which the first Tana, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, says? If we say it means that the sabbatical year does not abrogate that part of the debt that is commensurate with the collateral, but it does abrogate the rest, this indicates, by inference, that Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi holds that the sabbatical year abrogates the entire debt, including the part commensurate with the collateral as well. But if this is so, why did the creditor seize collateral from the debtor at all? Rather, is it not that Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel says that the sabbatical year does not abrogate the debt at all, and the debtor is liable to pay an amount commensurate with the entire debt, and accordingly they disagree with regard to Shmuel's principle that collateral is considered equivalent to the entire debt, even if it is worth less than the debt. Lo, or la. La'olam kenegdo, uv'ha b'kmifli. Tanakam savar kenegdo. Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi savar kenegdo nami meshamet. Udgam l'tamay tavis lemashkon, d'zichron devarim alma. The Gemara rejects this suggestion. No. Actually, the statement of the statement of Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel that the sabbatical year does not abrogate the debt is referring only to the part of the debt commensurate with the collateral. And they disagree with regard to that part of the debt. The first time, Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel holds that the sabbatical year does not abrogate the part of the debt commensurate with the collateral, and Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi holds that it abrogates the part of the debt commensurate with the collateral as well. And as for the question you said, for what purpose did he seize collateral from him at all? The answer is that he takes it merely as a reminder to increase the likelihood that the debt will be paid. Hadran alach Shevuot Dayanim. We've completed the chapter and shall return to you, God willing, Shevuos Dayanim. And now we start a new Mishnah, a new chapter. The Mishnah says, Kol ha-nishba'im nishba'im toira, nishba'im v'lo mishalmin, v'elo nishba'im v'lo tlin, ha-sachir v'ha-nigzal v'ha-nichbal, v'shekenegdo chashud al-hashua, v'chen v'ya'al pinkaso. Pinkaso. All those who take an oath that is legislated by the Torah to take an oath and do not pay. By Torah law, one takes an oath only in order to exempt himself from a monetary claim. And these litigants take a rabbinically instituted oath and receive possession of the disputed funds or property, meaning their claim is upheld by means of the oath, even though they are not in possession of the property in question. A hired worker who claims that he has not received his wages, and one who was robbed and sues the person who robbed him, and one who was injured who claims compensation from the person who injured him, and one whose opposing litigant is suspect with regard to the taking of an oath. When a person suspected of taking false oaths is liable to take an oath in order to exempt himself, the claimant takes an oath instead and receives payment. A storekeeper relying on his ledger also takes an oath and is paid. Hasachir keitzad amar lo, ten li schari sheyesh li biyadcha, hu omer netati, ve'ala omer lo netati. הוא נשבע ונותן. רבי יהודה אומר, עד שתהיה שם מקצת הודעה כיצד. אמר לו, תן לי שכרי 50 דינר שיש לי בידך. והוא אומר, הקבלת דינר זהב. How does this halacha apply to a hired worker? The case is where one says to his employer, give me my wages that are still in your possession. The employer says, I already gave them to you. And the worker says, I have not received them. In such a case, the worker takes an oath that he has not received his wages and he receives payment from his employer. Rabbi Yehuda says this oath cannot be administered unless there is a partial admission on the part of the employer. How so? The case is where the worker said to him, give me my wages, 50 silver dinars, which are still in your possession. And the employer says, you have already received 1 golden dinar, which is worth 25 silver dinars. Since the employer has admitted that he owes part of the sum, the worker takes an oath and is paid the whole sum. Nigzal, Ketzad, היו מעידין אותו שנכנס לביתו למשכנו שלו ברשות. הוא אומר, כלי נטלת. והוא אומר, לא נטלתי. הוא נשבע ונותן. רבי יהודה אומר, עד שתהיה שם קצת הודעה כיצד. אמר לו, 2 כלים נטלת. והוא אומר, לא נטלתי אלא אחד. How does this apply to one who was robbed? The case is where witnesses testified about the defendant that he entered the claimant's house to seize collateral from him without the authority to do so. The claimant said, you took items that belonged to me, and the defendant said, I did not take them. The claimant takes an oath and receives payment of his claim. Rabbi Yehuda says this oath cannot be administered unless there is partial admission on the part of the defendant. How so? The case is where the claimant said to him, you took 2 items. He says, I took only 1. Since the defendant admits that he took 1 item from the house, the claimant takes an oath and receives payment of his whole claim. נכבל כיצד היו מעידים עושו שנכנס תחת ידו שלם ויצא חבול ואמר לו חבלת בי והוא אומר לא חבלתי הרי זה נשבע ונותן ורבי יהודה אומר עד שתשע מקצת שרידו כיצד אמר לו חבלת בי 2 ואלה אומר לא חבלת בך אלא אחד. How does this halacha apply to one who was injured? The case is where witnesses testified about the injured person, that he entered into the domain of the defendant whole but left injured, and the claimant said to the defendant, you injured me. And the defendant says, I did not injure you. The injured party takes an oath and receives compensation. Rabbi Yehuda says this oath cannot be administered unless there is partial admission. How so? The case is where the claimant said to the defendant, you injured me twice, and the other says, I injured you only once. In such a case, the injured party takes an oath that he was injured twice and receives compensation for both injuries. How does this halacha apply to one whose opposing litigant is suspect with regard to the taking of an oath and therefore is not permitted to take the oath?